Hi everybody, this is Angie from Tourangie.com, and today, this is the last bit of Shenandoah, and I'll be turning on Hemlock to go down Pearl Street. YouTube user HSSERRY, so HS Surrey 5289, reached out to me and wanted Pearl Street. So here is your Pearl Street video. I still have plenty of other videos to do. I'll be doing them in the future, but today is Pearl Street. And while we're doing Pearl Street, you're going to end up seeing all the other streets, because I end up on Stadium Drive near the city park, and there's a reason why I went there is because the Mountain Festival is going on while I'm visiting Bluefield this time. So some of you who have moved away and forgot all about the Mountain Festival here in Bluefield, well, this is the 40th year of the Mountain Festival, so it's the Cole Chevy Mountain Festival now. But the end of the video, you'll be able to see that. So today's video is going to be talking about communication in the Bluefield area back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Gordon Wolford, a merchant in Crandon, Virginia, built the first telephone line from his store to Bob Bailey's in Bluefield in 1899. The telephone had been invented 24 years when the first telephones came to the area. At 14, a native of Bramwell, Susie Minter Young, at 14 became one of the first night operators. Her father, Joseph Young, who was a blacksmith in Bramwell, had died, and Susie was helping the family income by employment with the telephone company. Susie's uncle, W.M. Young of New Hope, Mercer County, organized a community, supervised the erection of a community telephone system, and connected the line from a switchboard at Sand Lick, which was connected with a similar switchboard at Brush Fork, and then on to Bluefield in 1909. In 1920, the first commercial radio station, KDKA, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, began broadcasting. Anyone in Mercer County who received the broadcast had to make his or her own receiving set. Those were one-tube sets with only earphones for hearing. Later, the Chrysler sets appeared. MC Young and AJ Young were among those who made the first receiving sets. Beginning in 1928, WHIS Bluefield was the first radio broadcasting station in Mercer County. Radio stations WKOY of Bluefield and WLOH of Princeton began broadcasting in 1948. WHIS TV, the first and only television station in the country, began its operation in 1955. Harold W. Arlen of KDKA was the first full-time radio announcer in the United States. He was the first to announce the football game play-by-play between West Virginia University and Pittsburgh University. Billy Jones and Ernie Hare, the legendary Happy Boys, were the first comedians to gain national radio prominence. Guy Lombardo's Royal Canadians was the first orchestra to gain national radio fame, and Graham McNam was the first prominent radio announcer. Many remember Singing Sam. His name was Harry Frankel, and also two famous Mercer County TV stars, Scoop and Snoop, which Scoop was O.C. Young and Snoop was Ray Brooks, began their show on WHIS-TV in 1955 and continued for 18 years. So that was some pretty interesting little bit of information that I found out about communication in the area. Went from telephones through radio to a little bit of TV. Next, I'm going to read to you a little article about the Brooks Log Cabin that I found in this, and it's going to be close. The location is close, sort of close to where I am going to be at with Bluefield Regional Medical Center area right there near Stadium Drive. So I figured I would mention it. It's not quite, but it's close enough. So the Brooks Log Cabin, once in the city limits of Bluefield, West Virginia, no longer exists. the road which leads to its doorstep disappearing as well with the passage of time. The two-room structure, built in the 1800s, stood on Pine Grove Street, the only habitat on the dead-end lane. It served as Brooks' home place for a great many years. Then Eli Miller, whose sister married into the family, became the resident for an extended period of time. The last owner was John Robert Goodman, who acquired it in 1948. A year later, there was a boundary dispute, and Goodman dismantled the building, log by log, and reassembling it further over on what was unquestionably his land. Rob was married to Gladys Mabel Bowles, who sometimes used her stepfather's surname as Leedy. Providing for the expanding group of sons, Rob tore down the aging shelter in the mid-1950s, constructing nearby a block house. Pine Grove Street eventually had its highest occupancy of 3 homes, which Bluefield Regional Medical Center purchased, demolished around the year 2000 to make way for a new hospital entrance. With the exception of a 2 to 3 car lengths of remaining of pavement, the entire Pine Grove Street was buried, covered under soil from surrounding mountaintops. The former location of the long-gone Brooks cabin is drastically altered, barely, if at all, recognizable to those of the area, though the corner signpost identifying the vanished Pine Grove Street remains. This little community within Bluefield is now history, a thing of the past visited only in our memories. So I figured I would share that, since that's just right up the road here. It's not exactly on my tour today, but Bluefield Regional Medical Center is right up there, the old hospital. But we're taking a left here on Stadium, and you're slowly going to be able to start seeing the mountain festival that's going on right now. I remember hearing, back in the day, when I was a child, that it always rained when the mountain festival was in town. Well, back then, I believe the mountain festival was actually starting the week before Memorial Day, ending on the Sunday or Monday, which was Memorial Day. That was be when it would ending. Sometime the mountain festival changed its dates, and it's now runs through like June 9th, and it starts later. So it doesn't actually start or involve Memorial Day as much. It's just like a week postponement. But I don't know, this time I find it funny, since I always used to hear the saying, it always rains and it's nasty weather because the carnival's in town. That was what I always used to hear. Well, this is a gorgeous day, and the 4 days that I'm up here in Bluefield area this time, it's beautiful weather. So you should start to be able to see some of the mountain festival amusements. Of course, some of the rides, and some of the rides have changed and different things, and just going up here and parking. I'm going to get a funnel cake while I'm there, but that's all I'm doing. But I wanted to show it off, since so many of you who have moved away from the area probably miss and think, oh, well, the mountain festival, I remember that in Bluefield. Well, at least you'll get to see a little bit of it as I'm pulling in. Well, that is about all I have to talk about today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is Angie from Tourangie.com. Come to my website, read my blogs, make appointments so I can help you plan your next travel adventure. Talk to you later.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Bliss.io. Music licensing reimagined.